CNN.
We have some breaking news. A man already charged with the murder of a sheriff's deputy in Santa Cruz, California, has now also been charged with the murder of a federal police officer. Stephen Carrillo was initially arrested after a shootout with the sheriff's department on June 6th. Authorities believe he also killed Patrick Underwood in a drive-by shooting outside of a federal courthouse in Oakland on May 29th. We have CNN senior national correspondent Kyung La on this story. And Kyung, I know you just got a lot of new information in this news conference from the Attorney General about Carrillo's suspected ties here to an anti-government extremist group. Tell us more about this.
Well, let's first, Brianna, explain what we're talking about here. These are two separate shootings that law enforcement had now connected to Stephen Carrillo as the gunman and an associate, someone who was working with Robert Justice. These two men now under custody for what the FBI said was to, quote, kill cops, and they are tied to this extremist group per the complaint that was just unsealed by federal authorities. The way they laid this out is on May 29th, as the Black Lives Matter protests were taking place and law enforcement was trying to keep people safe during these protests, these two men were in communication that they were not connected to these protests at all, but they were going to use it as a cover to scope out and kill law enforcement. So on May 29th, they drove to the Oakland federal courthouse, the federal building. They staked out two law enforcement officers who were outside the federal building. One of them was Pat Underwood, and then in the drive-by shooting, murdered Underwood. Then there was a call from the public, asked for help from law enforcement to the public to look for the getaway vehicle, and the vehicle that was used in the drive-by shooting, a van. Well, the public then responded, and law enforcement on June 6th was brought to Carrillo's house, and it was there that he also then attacked the sheriff's deputies who were responding, killing Sergeant Damon Guts Willer. So how is this all connected, and how are they connected to this extremist group? Here's what the U.S. Attorney's Office just said.
On the ballistic vest was a patch. The patch could be described as follows. It had an American-style flag with stripes like an American flag, but with some notable differences. One difference was that in the area where the stars appear on an American flag, there was instead the picture of an igloo. And one of the stripes on the American-style flag on the patch recovered from the vehicle associated with Carrillo was a Hawaiian-style motif, replacing one of the stripes on that patch. In addition, Carrillo appears to have used his own blood to write phrases on one of the cars that he carjacked. The complaint alleges that the patch and the phrases written by Carrillo are associated with the so-called Boogaloo movement.
And one other thing, Brianna, on this that the ATF said is that the rifle that was used in these shootings is known as a ghost gun. It's where you can order parts and assemble them privately. It is something that the ATF has long been frustrated by because there's simply no way to track them. Brianna?
Kyung, thank you so much. Live from Los